We're going to start right on time. Not just because I have tickets for the Genesee Theater at 8.
Speaker, waving. Go, ready to go?
Oh, Mike's waving back there. Okay. Okay. We're going to wait, make it legal. 7 o'clock on the head. Okay, Mike, you ready? Okay. Let's roll. I'd like to welcome you all to the October 14th, 2021 meeting of the Waukegan Planning and Zoning Commission. Can we have a roll call, please?
Anderson? Here. Bill?
Here.
Griffin?
Here.
Grimes?
Here.
Haug? Hicks?
Here.
Rivera?
Present.
Rodriguez?
Here. Okay, we do have a quorum. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of the September 9th, 2021 meeting.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes.
Motion approved by Commissioner Anderson,
I'll second that.
second by Commissioner Bill. Do we have any comments, corrections, or changes to the minutes? Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Rivera?
Aye.
Hicks?
Yes.
Haug? Grimes?
Yes.
Griffin?
Yes.
Bill?
Aye.
Anderson?
Yes.
Rodriguez?
Yes, motion carries, minutes are approved. Okay, next item, item 3.0, audience time. This is an opportunity for anybody in the audience who would like to address the commission on anything that is not on the agenda. The item on the agenda, we will have ample time for anybody who wants to speak, either in support. You know what, I'm going to move away a little bit. I'm going to take my mask off, and so that I don't have to be struggling to talk today. We fine with that? Okay. Thank you. Anyway, this is the time for anybody who would like to speak up, either in, about any item that's not on the agenda. Would like to address commissioners on any item. Anybody here? Okay. Next item, old business. Is there any old business that we need to discuss? Okay, good. Item 5, new business. Item 5.1, zoning calendar number 2639. This is a request by the petitioner, Nick Nikotakis, and 935 Commonwealth LLC for a map amendment rezoning from R3 single-family residence to B2 community shopping for the location known as 935 Commonwealth Avenue. Our presenter is here, our petitioner is here. Okay, would you please come up to the podium, and I'm going to swear you in. Do you have anybody else here that is going to be speaking this problem? Okay. Please raise your right hand. You swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Okay, please state your name and your affiliation to the project. And
Howard Stillman.
what is that name?
Howard Stillman.
Okay, thank you.
I'm related to the 930 Wealth Commonwealth LLC.
Okay, please proceed.
Before we purchased the building quite some number of years ago, it was listed as R3, and we had asked a couple members of the city to come out to give us an opinion on whether that was a mistake or not. And at that time, I'm sorry, they said, yeah, this is clearly not a residence. This has been a commercial building since it was built, and because of that, we proceeded with the transaction to purchase the property, and then subsequently spent quite a bit of money to fix it up to make it usable for that use, which included triple basin sewer and about $100,000 of improvements for that building. And then, back and forth to the city suggesting that it was R3 residence, and well, it's clearly not a residence. It's always been, it was Belsky Electric. They were the electrical contractor for the city, if I'm not mistaken, and we're just trying to fix this problem so we can use the property for what it was designed to be used for.
Okay. Do any of the commissioners have questions?
I do have questions. Are you buying or selling the business or running a business there?
No, neither. It's just ownership of the property.
I'm sorry I missed that.
So we're not running a business out of there, no. Is that what your question is? Are we running the LLC owns the property, but we don't operate a business out of there. It was bought
Yes, I'm asking what your relation to the project is.
I'm one of the owners of the LLC.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm one of the, but we don't run a business there. It was purchased, it's a warehouse, so I mean, it has other commercial uses other than warehouse. It's quite a nice building. But yeah, the object was to rent the building out to somebody who could use it. It's got large overhead doors, so it has quite a bit of commercial uses.
Yeah, it's my understanding that this property is on the market either to rent or to sell.
For sure to rent. Maybe it's out there to sell only because of the zoning, we couldn't really rent it for quite some time.
I think what you're trying to do is just change the zoning so that you can appeal to a wider
Yes,
base
the
of
desire is
possible
not to.
tenants.
It may be on the market just because of frustration of not being able to really use it for
Right.
for what it was the intent, what it was built for. But that's not our desire. Our desire is to just simply be able to use it for what we thought we were buying it for and for what it was designed, what it was built for. It's a large warehouse and it's not a home, and there's no kitchens. I mean, it's not like you can. I don't think you could put. It's not livable for people.
I have a question, and maybe Noel can answer this. Is this not an error that we should have caught it on the zoning map? It certainly isn't residential. Never has been.
You're right that it never has been residential. Steve did some research on it that's in his memo, and he says that the current zoning dates back to 1980. So at some point prior to that, it probably was business. He said the 1942 and 1974 maps show the property zoned as general retail and then general business.
Yeah, but I guess my question is, if it was an error on the map, whose responsibility is it to correct that?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. It probably was a scrivener's error, but I don't know. We don't have the records going back to pre-1980 to see if there was a request to change the zoning. Maybe somebody wanted to do apartments there or something. I really don't know at this point. But we agreed with the petitioner when they first came in that it made sense for this to be a B2 zoning like most of the rest of 10th Street there. It's a logical change, and we totally agree with it.
Noel?
Mr. Bill,
That jumped the gun on my report, Mr. Chairman, but yes.
Noel, maybe you can answer my question. That B3 rating that we're going for
B2.
B2. What type of business is that in a nutshell?
Neighborhood kind of retail. So B3 is like the larger commercial areas like Green Bay Road where it's sort of car oriented. And B2 is a little bit downscale from that. So, 10th Street, Glen Flora are good kinds of markers for what a B2 district is like.
Okay.
Still retail and commercial and, general service businesses, but not something where you have 100 people driving there in a day.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
any other commissioners have questions of the petitioner?
I went by the building today, and it is a solid brick building.
Could you use your microphone?
I'm sorry, thank you. It is a solid brick building, there's no question about it.
It's a very nice building.
I know you guys are intending to rent, I mean, are there any ideas of what type of business is gonna go in there? That's qualifies under the B2,
So I appreciate the openness to change this to even
Right.
B2. But the reality of that building is that those are solid garage doors. It truthfully doesn't lend itself well to a retail business, and with 100 people coming and
Sure.
going, like a retail business kind of needs people coming and going. It's more general commercial warehouse sort of space. It's a warehouse, so But I mean, I'm not arguing the point of this particular zoning. We're happy to get it changed from residential to what is being suggested. I'm not arguing. I'm just simply saying the desire is not to have a lot of cars coming and going. Then a retail use is not really that desirable, I guess. I don't know for the city's purposes, but
Yeah.
and it's, excuse me, yes.
Sir, you said that it does have the 3 drain system, so it works out for a garage.
So yeah, that was, I mean, it was almost was just for that was about $70,000 to put that system in,
Yeah.
because it was already started.
Okay.
And again, we had buildings before we purchased it. Zoning came out, buildings came out, fire came out, looked at it, and said, "Oh yeah, this is this, this is this, this is this." And we said, "Okay." And they're like, "Yes, this is obviously an error, because it's clearly not residential. You can do all of these uses," and because of that, we went out and spent, quite a bit of money, and we've not really been able to tenant it for the most part, because, well, one of the reasons clearly is the zoning. There may be other reasons. Maybe it's just not that desirable right now. I don't know, but but it is a very lovely building. I mean, it's a really nice building. It's in great condition, and we fixed it up and made it quite nice as well.
One of the things that I've heard, oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
One of the things that I've heard a few people mention about that property is that it looks very bad, especially east side with all of the cars and trucks that are parked there. And that kind of makes the whole area look kind of junky, okay? And what I pointed out, in fact, we were discussing it before, some of us were discussing it before the meeting, that that is not a zoning issue, okay? If there's a problem, and I know some of you expressed concern with that, if there is a problem with the, with it looking junky and maybe ordinances not being followed or anything like that, that should not affect our decision as to the zoning, because that is not a zoning issue. But I would also like to mention to you, since you are one of the owners, that in my opinion, I think something needs to be done to make that area look a little bit better. I mean, I don't know if the way that it's being utilized right now, the east part of that property, I don't know if that is conforming to, code or ordinance or.
So, to be truthful, I don't really know either. And I drove about an hour and 45 minutes to get here this evening, and I'm not there at the property that frequently, nor did I really know, because we never received anything or said that there was any problem or anything like that. I could speak to the tenants who live there, because there's a residential building over there. Somebody may be just using it. I'm happy to look into it and to deal with any problems. I mean, we have other stuff in other properties in Waukegan. We certainly take care of them. We've made, again, significant improvements to the property, and that's not our desire to have it be looking run down, especially when we're trying to tenant the building. So we're happy to deal with any issues that are brought to our attention.
No, I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Yeah, I will look in, and I'll try to take care of
Mr.
it.
Anderson, you had a.
Well, and it maybe is a question for Noel, I'm not sure. But you're currently using it as commercial. You're proposing to use it as commercial. Why are you going to B2 community shopping? Is that because that's the area there and you want it to be the same as the area?
You're asking her, not me, right?
She is asking me, yes. That's the only appropriate zoning that we can change it to. Changing it to a different commercial or industrial zoning would be spot zoning, which we don't do for lots of this size.
Okay.
So then it would be a standalone. The petitioner, Nick Nikotakis, requested that it be zoned an industrial zoning, which is kitty corner on the other side of the bike path.
Yes.
And we felt that that was not technically adjacent enough
Okay.
to consider that. Now, this will still have a residential zoning in between, but all the rest of that north side of 10th Street going eastward is B2.
Okay.
So community shopping isn't just retail, it's service businesses also, like an electrician, for example, or an auto repair shop could get a conditional use permit through our normal process to operate there. So it's called community shopping, but that's really just a descriptor for the scale of
Okay.
activity more than anything.
I just didn't want to zone it, and then it's still not zoned correctly,
Right.
and we have to go through this process again.
Yes. So as Steve points out in the memo, even with the zoning change, Wiseway Fleet Service is a legal nonconforming use, and it will continue to be legal nonconforming.
Okay,
But we are allowing it as grandfathered.
Okay.
But then other new uses in the building would be expected to comply with B2, either permitted uses or conditional uses, which then would come back before you.
okay, thank you, Noel.
Commissioner Rivera.
No, I was just saying that, these areas, especially this area here, it's been a blighted area for quite a while, and I agree with the commissioner, with our chairman, what he was suggesting is that something pleasant hopefully can go there, which can at least make some of the improvements in these areas. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
So you're saying that section there, which is a garage, currently has a conditional use permit? Is that what you said? No, it does not. Okay.
If a new garage were to go in,
Okay.
if they were able to find a tenant that was an auto repair shop, that auto repair shop would have to apply for a conditional use permit and
The reason I
come
was asking
before.
was that if there were a conditional use permit in effect, then maybe there are some conditions that could be enforced
Yes,
upon them.
yes. So any new user, there could be conditions.
Anybody else? Any other commissioners have any comments or questions? Okay, I'd like to ask if there's anybody else here who would like to speak out in support or opposition to this request. Nobody, okay. We do have some letters, and I want to read these into the record. Looks like there's just two. Okay, one letter of objection. Kenny and Susie Wright, whose address is 919 Commonwealth Avenue, says, the reason that my wife and me object to the transaction because the tenants that is already occupying the building has no respect for the neighborhood. As of Wednesday, 9/20/9/21, there were 23 cars, trucks parked in front of the building and across the street. In front facing the building, cars are parked there also. It is looking like a junkyard, and there were some photos submitted to substantiate that. So I don't know if you've seen that or if you'd like to see it. Sure. And then there is a letter of support from,
Mr. Stillman.
yes,
You wrote a letter of
This is-
support. You wrote a letter of support to me.
a letter of support, right. 935 Commonwealth LLC, represented by Mr. Stillman, LLC manager, says the property in question was never residential. It was built as a warehouse and was used in that manner for decades. In fact, Roger, the guy who owned it, was the chief electrician for the city. I guess that's clout, right? And he ran his electrical business there from day one. Anyway, so those are two letters that were received, and there were no others that came in late, right? Correct. Okay. All right, so there's nobody else here who would like to speak out? Then I'd like to ask Noel for your final recommendation.
The staff thinks this change to B2 zoning makes sense for this property, and we recommend approval.
Okay, do any of the commissioners have questions of city staff? Okay, in that case, I would like to ask for a motion to recommend approval or to recommend denying approval.
I'll make a motion to recommend the map amendment rezoning from R3 single-family residence to B2 community shopping for 935 Commonwealth Avenue.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Rivera. Is there any further discussion on this motion?
The only thing I would have to say on this is, if there is a problem there with the parking and the way the current people are using it, maybe Noel should point that out to code compliance and have them take a look at it.
Yes, ma'am, I already have, as soon as we got that objection.
And we discussed that on Tuesday. Right. Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Rivera,
Aye.
Vince,
Yes.
Grimes,
Yes.
Griffin,
Yes.
Bill,
Aye.
Anderson,
Yes,
Rodriguez.
Yes, motion carries. Congratulations.
can I,
Next step, Noel?
The next step will be the Community Development Committee of City Council, and that will be the first Monday in November, and I'm drawing a blank on the date right this second. Thomas is looking up the date. That'll be in this room, and the meeting will start between 5 and 7 p.m. I'm not sure yet. What time is that, the 1st? 1st of November. Yeah, if somebody can be in attendance, that's ideal in case the aldermen have questions. Otherwise, staff will present the information as best we can. Or you can request a holdover until the next committee meeting. So.
Okay, thank you,
Chairman.
and good luck.
Good luck.
Chairman?
Next item is...
Chairman?
Yes.
I want to support Sarah's point. I drove by and that area looks just like the pictures. When I saw the pictures, I went, what is that? It looks like the fleet services are still there because of all of the trucks and pickups. But even if they're there, they can be parked differently, it can look different. And it is a mess. And I would say the same thing that this particular objectioner gave us. It needs to be cleaned up. Whatever use it is.
We concur with that, and we actually raised the issue to the chairman when we had our pre-meeting
Okay.
earlier this week. We have those concerns as well, and we have shared them with code, but I will refresh that nudge there.
And what I'd like to do too, I think it would be very appropriate if we could ask you for a report, to report back to us periodically to let us know what's going on with that, whether there's any change or, anything's been done.
Yeah, I can ask the building commissioner to provide information on that, sure.
That would be great. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Anybody else have anything before we adjourn?
I have one other thing.
Certainly.
What's happening with the Ramada Inn property? And it looks, every week it looks worse.
Yes, I agree. We had a conversation about that 2 days ago, I think, also with the building commissioner. The property is in litigation right now between the owner and the buyer. The buyer was your petitioner, for whom we approved the conditional use permit. There's litigation there. There's litigation that involves the bar owner. There's some three-way litigation, some mutual litigation against each other. It's a little bit in limbo. There's a judge's ruling that the tenant's lease is valid for the bar until, I don't remember the exact date. Do you remember, Thomas? I want to say March of 2023. So that petitioner is actually going to the city council requesting an extension of the CUP because they don't have site control yet. And in the meantime, code enforcement is trying to enforce codes.
So what does that mean? I mean, I don't see anything any different, Noel.
The challenge is that it's owned by an out-of-area real estate investment group, so our communication is with their attorney, who we assume is communicating with them, but it's an arduous process for us. We're all very frustrated.
Can you levy fines that get their attention?
Not automatically.
It's on a main,
Yes.
it's on a main drag.
Yes. So there's a process of giving notice, waiting for the notice period to go through, giving a follow-up notice, giving them another chance to cure, having that several times before you can issue a citation, and then you have to give them the right to appear in court on the citation. It's a challenging process when we have real issues like that. It really is.
So are you saying if somebody put graffiti on all of those boards that are up that are essentially rotting, nobody could take the graffiti off? Is that what you're telling me?
The owner could give somebody permission to. The owner should hire somebody to take it off.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
It's frustrating. I agree. It's incredibly frustrating.
Especially that visible a property.
Yes.
Well, can the city deny the extension of the CUP?
The city can deny the extension, but that's not the person that has site control. So it's really not their fault. They're frustrated with it too. So I had an email exchange with the Nieder Capital representative about a month ago, and he expressed his frustration. His attorney and I conversed on the phone with Thomas a week and a half ago, and he's incredibly frustrated. They're not happy about the way it's going. They're not happy about the way the building looks. They don't have permission to go on site and do anything to clean it up. So everybody's trying from different angles to get it resolved, but
When does eminent domain kick in?
that's another long process. It doesn't
I
kick in
know.
automatically. So I think that if we filed for eminent domain, and this is just speculation, but because they're all litigious already, I believe that if we filed for eminent domain, they would probably file an injunction because they have this other legal action going on. So they would want to wait for that to be cured.
Go on for a long time.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Nicole, do you know if they're keeping the heat on and the power on, and can they isolate it and turn it off and, deactivate it so it doesn't go into more ruin?
Yeah, I don't believe that those utilities are turned on at this point, except for the bar area.
So do you know if the plumbing's been drained and everything like that? Or, you could have all kinds of problems arise with the winter coming,
Yeah, that was part of our conversation the other day. They've had pipes burst last winter, and there was a major repair there as a result of that. So part of the conversation was, does the city have the authority to just go shut off the water when they don't have a water bill in arrears that gives us authority to shut it off?
Yeah.
Do we have the ability to shut off? So folks are working on all the angles, but it is very frustrating.
The zoning we granted is null and void, right?
Not yet.
When is that up?
That conditional use permit expires in January, and that's what they're going to city council next month to request an extension.
Well, I don't see
of the
what the,
litigation.
we never would have granted it with the bar and it, all that involved.
Yeah, one of the conditions, you're absolutely right, one of the conditions was that senior housing development could not operate with the bar, so the bar had to be out before
Right.
the senior development could happen.
So do they have to come back for another conditional use permit?
No, they're coming back to request an extension, so if the city council grants the extension, then the existing conditional use permit will be valid until it expires or they get another extension.
But there's a bar there.
Right. And so they wouldn't be able to get their operating. They
I
might
see.
be able to get building permits to work on the building. They still have
Got
site
it.
plan approval that they have
Got
to go
it.
through. If you recall, there were, I think, 20 conditions or 22 conditions on
Was
that one.
a number.
Yeah, there were a whole bunch of steps to get to where they could get to operating. So that would buy time automatically, but they can't even start on any of the physical things until they have site control, which they don't currently have because of all the litigation.
Is there anything else?
May I give you two other pieces of information quickly? Commissioner Santiago has resigned, so we've asked the mayor to make a replacement there. That just all happened this week, so I don't know when the replacement will come, but that seat we hope will be filled relatively soon. His term was due to expire this December anyway, and Chairman Rodriguez and Commissioner Anderson, your terms also expire this December. So please let us know whether you're interested in staying on, that we should ask the mayor to consider reappointment, or whether you'd like to not be on the commission anymore at that time. And then the other news for you is that Russ Tomlin has retired from the city of Waukegan after nearly 30 years of working with us. We miss him already, and he's only been gone a week. So he has moved out of state and is on to new adventures.
Well, good for him.
Yes, we're very happy for him.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I'd like to ask for a motion to adjourn then.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Hess, second by Commissioner Rivera. I'm going to ask for a roll call vote on this too. I know that. I know that.
Rivera,
Aye.
Vince,
Yes.
Grimes,
Yes.
Griffin,
Yes.
Bill,
Aye.
Anderson,
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes, motion carries. Meeting is adjourned at 7:29.
Yay.
Thank you.
That's pretty good. That might be a record, Mike.